Alrighty, so this is the first video of spring 2019 semester introduction to Windows Server 2016. My name is David Cutter. I know that a lot of you guys have had me in other classes, never in this format online. I'm going to try and make this as conducive to learning as I possibly can. I know that personally I struggle with online classes, meeting deadlines and making sure to check in and all of the intricacies involved with that. When I went through my college experience and even now, taking continued education and stuff, I've definitely struggled with the online format, but I'm definitely going to try and make this appease that as much as possible. Fortunately, we're living in an era where we can have an online class and still have access to our instructors. So I will definitely make myself accessible as I possibly can. Emails will be responded to within 24 hours, or in very rare situations within 48 hours. But hopefully every email within 24 hours. In rare situations within 48. But I just want to quickly show you sort of what you'll be seeing and what you can expect as far as how the layout of the online class, how to submit assignments and stuff like that. So I'm going to try and keep this video in the 15-minute range, 15 to 20-minute range. So quickly, if you look over here at the screen capture that I'm doing here, you can see I've got the Yavapai College Canvas page up, which includes, this is actually the teacher's version here, so let me see if I can't get the student view here really quickly, so you can see what it will look like for one of you. So this is the landing page. This is where, when you first sign in, access the class, this is what you'll see. Any announcements that I have will end up on this landing page. Once I upload this video, you'll see it right here in the main landing page. I've got modules here. This is where you're going to go to for finding anything relating to the class. You see things like your syllabus will be found there, and we'll go over that in this video. You can find things. Initially, I have a very, very small grade assignment. Send a screenshot. This, so that I know, first of all, this is for two reasons. I need to know that you can send a screenshot. That's going to be really important for your labs. And also, everybody has to do that within the first week, or I have to withdraw students for that, because there needs to be class participation in the first week in order for you guys to be considered attending. This will be part of your participation grade, which we'll go over when we look at the syllabus. I have the class broken up into weeks. I don't have all of the accurate due dates on everything. It's Sunday night prior to class starting around 10:30, so hopefully around 11 o'clock or noon tomorrow I'll have everything adjusted for the correct due dates. The first week, though, is going to be pretty much just sending me a screenshot and reading, and then the following week. So it's broken up into 2-week chunks. Chapter 1, read it, do your work. And the reason I've done that is because your due dates are always going to be 2 weeks from the start of a chapter. So we'll do chapter 1 in week 1 and 2, and then I'll expect everything that is due to be turned in online, review questions and hands-on activities to be turned in online. One thing that's missing from this module that will be added by tomorrow around 10:30, 11 o'clock, noon, somewhere in there, is the word of the day, which I'll talk about when I look at the syllabus. So that's going to be part of your participation grade. But again, so everything is broken up into weeks. It is a 16-week semester. This needs to be some small adjustments need to be made for Thanksgiving week should be replaced with and will be replaced with spring break. So I will be adjusting some things on this. This is you seeing the unedited version. I've made some small changes. I have the syllabus uploaded. Actually, no, I haven't. Oh shoot! Okay, so at the time of making this video, I do need to get my corrected syllabus on there as well. I'll go over it to some degree, but let me just bring this up. Yeah, you see this says FA 17. That's from fall 2017. In fact, I wasn't even the instructor back then, so this syllabus needs to be corrected slightly. However, most everything on here is accurate. You guys can, of course, take a look at the revised syllabus once I have it online. You'll notice tomorrow when you look at it, if you do decide to take a look on your own, it'll say Spring 18, SP 18. So it'll be a more accurate syllabus. It'll have my name and my information on it as well. You can also find my information, at least the basics, on the Canvas homepage. I need to adjust that as well. So I'm glad I'm making this remind me. So the basics are the same. The class is an introduction to Windows Server. It's meant to be an icebreaker, not so much an intimidating course that you go, oh my gosh, Windows Server, there's so much there, it's so involved, there's a lot to do. This class is designed to be the first step, towards really learning how to use Windows Server 2016. I expect that anybody leaving this class should be able to do very basic setup. I'll give you some terms now that you'll recognize later, but you need to be able to understand, basic Active Directory setup, getting a domain controller set up and functioning, having things like that, adding users to a domain server, to Active Directory, setting group policies. These are all things that you're going to learn in this, but they're very much the basics of Windows Server. Windows Server goes so far beyond the scope of what this class teaches that there's actually 2 additional classes in the server topic that cover the server topic offered at Yavapai College. So this class is designed to make it so that when you go into those ones, Windows Server 1 and Windows Server 2, you've already played around, you've done some things, you have some basic prerequisite knowledge. And so that's how it's designed to be. We do talk a little bit about some concepts that are covered in CNT 100 and 110 and 115. So hopefully, everybody who's signed up has to have taken those prerequisites, but hopefully everybody has a pretty okay understanding. We're gonna be building on some of the information that you've gained, that I've given you, or other instructors have given you in previous courses. Course content, you guys could read that on the website. It's course content and outcomes. That's all. Basically, the main topics that the class will cover by chapter, really. So Windows Server products and requirements, Windows Server installation. Those are kind of the first 2. By the second, or by the 4th week, you should have Windows Server installed and working. So that's kind of the main 2 building blocks right there. And then we look at the server environment in some detail. Directory service, this is really important. This refers to Active Directory, how to add users and stuff like that. How to set it all up, really. So hopefully this is a basic class, so that basic by server standards, so that you learn basic setup, basic principles of how to run a server. Resource access, print server, printing, data storage, because these are several things that you can do with a Windows Server beyond using it as a domain controller. The first 4 chapters are basically, or I guess the first couple of chapters and then the 4th are more Windows specific than anything else. These other chapters are things you can do with other servers, Linux servers and the like. But we do talk about them specifically relating to Windows Server 2016. Data storage, networking, remote access, and security, all related to Windows Server 2016. And then here you have the learning outcomes for these for the course content, what we expect you guys to have as part of your understanding. So, and then they're mapped to the course content. Describe the Windows Server family of products and define system requirements for each. That's a pretty basic requirement. So in doing your review questions, in reading your chapter, you should be able to do that and have a pretty basic understanding of that. Install Windows Server and describe options and requirements for installation of Windows Server. Again, pretty easy stuff by the standards of other server classes. Configure the server environment, install and configure Windows directory services. That's where you get into Active Directory and DNS, DHCP and stuff. DHCP and DNS actually would probably fall more into manage access resources. In fact, it definitely does. Configuring print services, which is really handy to be able to do on a Windows server. Manage and configure data storage, also very important. Configure and troubleshoot Windows network protocols and services, so that's the networking chapter, specifically related to Windows, so that's important. And then configure remote access services. This is referring to remote desktop protocols, because remote desktop protocol and remote services, which is a Windows server service, very, very handy for administrators. Configure, and then security, of course, is a must in any modern networking class. Okay. I'm going to be communicating you via your student email. That's my main channel for communication. I'm okay. I do post my personal cell phone number on my syllabus. I post it on the website. I'm okay with people texting me, but as an immediate, like, hey, here's an issue. But I prefer it if there's something relating to, a matter of record. It's better if you communicate with me through the email. If you're asking me a question like, hey, I'm stuck on number 5 of the review questions, is there any way you could take a look at it and get back to me? That's fine. But if you're saying, hey, I'm thinking about withdrawing from the course, or something that's a matter of record, maybe a dispute about your grade or something like that, please communicate with me via email. I like to keep a record of that stuff. Just covering your butt, covering my butt. Everybody's covered if there's a record, right? So, but I'm cool with text messages as far as, or even phone calls, as long as it's a quick thing. Again, I put on my syllabus that I'll communicate within 24 to 48 hours, excluding holidays, excluding business hours. You know what I mean? That should be obvious. There's tech support, teaching and e-learning support is really, really helpful for if you're struggling with Canvas. I can do my best to help you out with that, but those guys are the pros. They can really give you the best information. When it comes to, if you're struggling if you have questions about how to do your labs or something with the Windows lab environment, that's something that should be channeled through me, through email or text message or something like that. The grading. So I've actually made some slight adjustments to how the grade is run. In the past, it's been basically 50-50 between review questions and hands-on activities. I'm not running the class that way this year. I've decided to add a couple of extra grading components, which could be of benefit for you. The less things there are to grade, here's the deal. The less things there are to grade, the harder it is to do well. Unless, it's an online course, I understand all tests are open book. That's kind of the way of the world when we're talking about online courses. So I'm totally fine with you guys using whatever resources you have at your disposal. What I will do is I will have a skills final exam and a final exam, right, where it's questions and answers. That will constitute a portion of your grade, and this will all be in my actual syllabus, and I might even do another video going over that once I've got that totally finalized and uploaded. Basically, those will constitute 10% of your grade. Then the hands-on projects will constitute, I believe I have it set to 40. I'm not going to say for sure all my percentages, but you'll have hands-on projects. You'll have your review questions, which are basically like quizzes, and then lastly a participation grade. So I'm going to be doing meetings via Zoom every Friday at 4:30. Or that time is relatively flexible. I'll see. It's going to be Fridays in the afternoon, but the exact time is going to be based somewhat on feedback. So I'll send out an email tomorrow sometime and get feedback on when what works best for people. I can't do it any later than 5, so that's how it is. It's going to be a 30-minute meeting, and it will. Participation in that meeting will constitute 5% of your grade. I think it's 5%. Might be 10%. Oh, I got to look at my syllabus. Anyways, I will upload that and I will clarify tomorrow. But that portion of your grade will be determined by what I'm calling the word of the day. Basically, a one-question quiz that you can find in the modules for week 2 chapter. I apologize. I should clarify one thing. This meeting will be every other Friday, not every Friday, every other Friday. And I'll announce it via email the day of so that everybody knows. And then the second thing is if I understand it's an online class, I'm not going to force everybody to, if you have a job that you can't, I understand that. So what I'll do is I'll have the opportunity for people to participate in this discussion in direct form, or if there's people who go, I really can't show up, maybe 1 or 2 show up. They can actually be there. They can ask questions. We can talk for a few minutes, and then I'll do a little bit of a discussion. Not really a lecture, but a discussion about the topic that we're talking about. There's not going to be any slideshows. We're just going to look at it. Basically, I'll be capturing my screen and have a server up on the screen that helps to clarify some things for people. I think that's going to be really, really valuable for the learning process. Again, I know online classes tend to be more difficult in terms of really getting something of benefit to you. I'm not going to turn this into a 6 hours a week project for you. It should be it should be somewhere in the ballpark of, in a 2-week span, you put in 4 to 5 hours to the class. If you're doing that in a 2-week span, you should be totally caught up to speed. You should learn the information that you need to know and be able to get everything done. So hopefully you're not too disappointed with the way things are going and the way I run this class. This is my first online class. I will there's a survey at the end, and I do very much take feedback seriously. Any feedback that I can be given, or even during the class, if you shoot me an email and say, hey, this thing you're doing, it's really not working out. I'm open to criticism as long as it's not too brutal. I'm open to constructive criticism. That stuff does not fall on deaf ears. So if there's any kind of things that I could be doing better or improvements that I could make, and it seems like it's appropriate, I might incorporate it. So please feel free to get in touch with me in those cases. And I look forward to meeting everybody, and whether it's via email or via online meeting, one way or another. So thank you.